Welcome to the Nova Fitness Unfiltered podcast, where today we have a very special guest on with us, one of our OG clients, Jenni, who has been in the team for almost 2 years, and she's on to talk all things about her journey, which she's been on, where she has smashed some absolutely incredible goals, from physique-based goals like photo shoots to half marathons to just completing High Rocks in Madrid. And we're going to talk you through everything from where she started to where she currently is now.
Jenni Mcveety, aka Jenni Longlegs.
So what we're going to start with is taking you right back to the beginning of your journey, right? And what actually made you want to start your fitness journey?
So I've always kind of been into the gym, but I would like pause and stop and start all the time. And I just thought I kind of want to take it serious. I want to change like my lifestyle, how I look, and just basically transform myself from the way I used to be to the way I am now. And yeah, that's been pretty much.
So tell us a wee bit about like what you used to be in terms of what you mean by that. Like obviously I can gather, right, because I was probably the same.
Yeah.
But
so I used to obviously go out quite a lot, drink quite a lot at the weekends. That was basically pretty much all I did, to be honest. So like kind of going back a couple of years ago, obviously I'd been in a relationship and I just came out of that, and because I was on my own, I just went out all the time. That was pretty much
breakup protocol in it.
That was pretty much what I did, and I think I used to drink a lot as a way of like filling time, but also to make myself be more confident, because I'm naturally quite quiet and quite shy.
That Dutch courage.
Yeah, so I would probably use drink as a way to make myself feel a wee bit more confident in like situations and things like that. So I did drink quite a bit, and most of the time when I did go out, I would go out and I wouldn't remember anything the next day, and I would feel really anxious and feel like really down, and not scared to admit this, but quite a lot of the time the next day I would sometimes Google the Samaritan's number, because I would feel like that down about how drink used to make me feel. So yeah, since doing this, I've obviously kind of not acted like that anymore. Like obviously I'd still have a wee drink now and then, but I don't really want to do it now because I don't enjoy how it makes me feel.
It's mad, innit? It's mad how like something like alcohol can be the thing that actually you feel like gives you confidence, but it's like it's a false sense of confidence, because it probably feels different to the confidence that you now radiate like today.
Yeah.
But you do that to yourself for a number of hours to then go into that kind of spiral of how you feel the next day and the day after that, and even the day after that sort of thing. Like you use it as like this numbing thing, this false confidence, to then just
Obviously, just to confirm here, right, Jenni was an alky, right? It was just for
she's a party girl.
It was just at the weekend.
Yeah.
And
she's a party girl.
Obviously, I can resonate with that, even though I've been in a relationship for 17 years, 16 years. Make sure I get that right. It's like we done the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like go out and just getting mad with it, and it was just a thing. It was like
I think it's just part of society, but it's just the societal norm that's what everybody does every weekend, lives for the weekend.
And that's what it was. And then there's only so, and you do that, and you do that, and you do that, and then you're in this routine of just going out at the weekends and just get mad with it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, something needs to change here, because I feel like absolute shit. And obviously you've known Holly for a while before we even started PT and stuff, and you've obviously seen Holly going back to the gym and stuff, and you're like, do you know what, maybe I can like, maybe can I do that? Do you know what I mean? A wee bit of help, really. And that's kind of when you reached out, and now there's just been, yes, it's maybe been a couple of years or whatever, but it's still a couple of years that has just changed your life massively. It's like, do you know what I mean? And a lot of people can probably relate to that.
Where
do you know what I mean?
Where previously.
Yeah, I know. Because as well, like, so me and Holly used to work together and stuff, and I think it was it was just after I'd come out of that relationship. It was like January 2022, and I started going to the gym myself from then. I used to go to the Trice, and I got we could get a wee plan made up, so I had a plan made up, and I was going to the gym, but obviously I wasn't doing it properly. Like I wasn't pushing myself in the gym, and I was still at that point going out at the weekend, but I was trying to start doing it. And then obviously we went to the gym a few times together, like when you had like started taking it more seriously as well. And then I'd put myself obviously kind of on like a wee plan of like how much I should eat. Say I didn't do that properly either.
So let's talk a wee bit about that, right? Yeah. Because I remember we were going on holiday. This was just before you joined the team, after you had kind of reached out and needed a bit of help. So talk about that, about like what you done before you went on holiday.
So I was going on holiday to Ibiza with my cousin, and obviously in the lead up to it, I'd wanted to get lean for going on holiday.
Yep, standard.
So I just used MyFitnessPal, and obviously you can put in that how much you should eat depending on how much weight you want to lose. I think my calories were at like 1,400, but I was starving because I was going to the gym and I was doing cardio like, I don't know, 3-4 times a week, and then obviously I've got a dog, so I was walking him as well, so obviously I was doing quite a lot of steps, so I was under eating by quite a bit.
Yep.
By quite a bit. And I done that for a few months up until my holiday. So yeah, that wasn't good, but you live and learn. You
absolutely do. And yeah, using MyFitnessPal is just, so many people do it, and it gives you like 1,200, 1,400 probably, I think, is the most that it ever gives you. And it's just like, no. Because I bet as well, like, I bet you didn't even taper your calories down. I bet you just went there and just remained there for months.
for a few months.
It's like with MyFitnessPal as well. It's like it doesn't give you the like how active you are, or that, is it?
No, it doesn't take any of that into account.
So obviously
really,
all that comes into account depending on how active you are in your job and stuff like that. But I mean, don't get me wrong, MyFitnessPal is a good app for somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, but to at least get started. Do you know what I mean? But it can also give you a false kind of reading. And it's the same way like when you go to track with MyFitnessPal, like you can type in cooked chicken. That could have been Holly that's put that in, but she's calculated it wrong. So you don't know. So you've got a cooked chicken, a couple of times. 20 different cooked chickens, but it'll all be different calories, and you're like, what cooked chicken is it?
What one?
You know what I mean? It's like, and you can be wrong with that, but again, like if you're obviously really kind of overweight, and then you go down that route, you're going to lose weight anyway. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But for you, it was more you didn't really need to lose weight.
I know.
In fact, you needed to gain weight, but the right weight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But obviously you've came from a background that, like, obviously when you came with us, it was like you wanted to see the scales go down. I need to lose weight. I'm fat. Like, Jenny, you're not fat. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not. And it's took you a while to now can I get there, and the food that you're up to, and you wear that, and because of the type of training and stuff now, and you're like, and even still sometimes now you're a bit like,
I thought we wobble.
I think that's normal, but like that's just, you're just human. I think we all have wobbles at times, but it's very seldom that it happens now.
Aye. And I know in my head that I'm being silly, but I still have the wee wobble.
You're going to have that. It's like, but it's also, you've now built a good bit of trust.
Yeah.
With us as well. Do you know what I mean? And obviously you've got Holly telling you, and then obviously a fan to step in sometimes and say, no. Do you know what I mean? You're hearing it for both of us. I'm your fitness dash shop. So you're getting, do you know what I mean? Like it's building that belief and that trust. It's like right now I know what's happening. And you've ran, obviously, tell us about obviously the runs in that you've done as well. Like,
so obviously I'd always kind of wanted to get into running, but I was never good at it. So I'm terrible for, if I'm not good at something right away, I'm like, oh well, can't do it then. But I'd mentioned to Holly how I wanted to possibly do a half marathon, but it took me a while to actually book the first one. I think it was like maybe May, and we started like adding runs in. And at that point I was like, I kind of want to book this was May last year, sorry. I kind of want to book a half marathon, but I kind of hummed and hawed for a while.
Yeah, building that self-belief, wasn't it? Like I knew that you actually could do it.
I know. And then eventually, obviously, I think it was it August time?
Aye, it was August we started, November. And then you were doing it in November.
Because when I did start running in May, my knee was a bit sore, so I kind of stopped for a bit. And then obviously we started again in August, and I started going to physio and stuff and got help with that. And then I started taking the runs more seriously from August, and I done my first half marathon last year in November. And then obviously I paused the run for a while, and then booked another one for August this year. So I've done 2 so far. And I really like running now. Like when you see yourself getting better at it, I think that's what I like being able to see myself improving as well, because it's only something that I can take the credit for, because it's just all me, if that makes sense. So I quite like that.
Tell us how you felt. How did you feel after that, kind of the lead up to the first half marathon, and then after you done it?
So the lead up to it was obviously quite hard because I was running quite a lot. Obviously, I was still going to the gym as well.
This is your first big event. Like, this is the first event you've ever booked to ever do.
So I did find that a wee bit overwhelming at first, just like the volume of running, because obviously you have to do some quite long runs. I think the longest one I had to do before the half marathon was like 19k. So you're running for like over 2 hours, because obviously you usually do it a bit slower as well. So I did find that a wee bit overwhelming at first, I won't lie. But I also really enjoyed it at the same time as finding it overwhelming. And I was actually quite excited for the first half marathon, just because obviously it was something new. I'd never done it before, and I also wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish it, because it's a long time to run
absolutely.
in the one go without stopping, and that was obviously my main goal, just to do the race without stopping. But also kind of did have a little bit of a time goal as well, just because I like to set myself unrealistic goals sometimes for the first time of doing things. But I think that makes you try harder as well when you set.
Well, this is the thing, because when you're set, this is what I spoke to you about before, because the goals that you set, like, they're big. They're not like you ain't staying in your comfort zone. Like, when you set these, you're like aiming really high, and sometimes, but it takes that aiming really high to then push yourself even further than you ever did. And then even if you maybe don't get the particular goal that you were setting out for, you actually end up with something really, really incredible, because you've aimed so high in the first place. So what was your time for your first half marathon?
So it was 2 hours and 39 seconds. So
how did you feel about that 39 seconds?
Raging. Absolutely raging. But no, I went into it thinking I was going to possibly get 2 hours or just under. So I was still happy with the time, but
It's an amazing time for
because it was so close.
That's the one at Glasgow Green when you ran round
You kept running, aye.
I was
You
like,
thought you were running to the toilet.
Where are you going? It's finished. I was like, Jenny, it's finished.
I thought she was bursting for a
I
pee.
had to get the credit on Strava. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that and then not get the credit on Strava. You joking?
I was like, where is she gone, man? Does she know it's finished? Running right round the statue, man.
But yeah, no, I had a plan A, B, and C. So plan A was to get 2 hours or under, and then plan B was to beat my brother's time. And then plan C was just to finish it. So.
And the feelings afterwards, right? Because I remember coming home in the car, and I remember the exact words that you said to us, but do you remember like how you felt afterwards?
I don't remember what the words I said to you were. What?
So you basically said about the fact that you finally found something that you were good at.
Oh yeah, I know, because I've never been the one that's been good at stuff. Like all my friends and things like that are, well, obviously they're smarter than me. They've all got like better jobs and things like that, and they've always been better at me than things. And even just like family and stuff as well. So I've never been like recognised as being good at something. So I think that's why I like running as well, because you think
you're actually really good at it. You've found something that you excel at and that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So so it's more than just a run for you and just ticking something off your list as a fitness accomplishment. Like, it actually meant more to you than what you thought.
I know. And I go on about it all the time as well. Do you know that I run?
Do you know that I done high rocks?
Well, that's the next one, isn't it?
Thought I did that wee bit. But it's like, obviously, you know, you're the same age as me, right? Give or take, a wee bit older. But
No comment.
Doesn't look about you.
it's like, I've never really been good at it. It's not that I've not been good at it. It's like, I've not got any grades or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I see myself as an idiot. I mean, I can hardly even spell some things sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, never mind count. But it's like, it's not until you start doing things. Obviously, when you're grown up and you're going in and you get in relationships and you just go with the flow, and you've never really probably thought about doing something like this until that point where it's like, you're in a relationship, out of the relationship, and then you're in this fucking spiral every weekend, going out and get mad with it, and then I'm not going to use the word depressed, right, because I think it's overused at times, right, but you do feel down after a drink because you're fucked, right, that's just what happens, right. Then you're getting back through during the week and you're like, oh, fucking go back out, and then it's like, now that you've obviously started doing the fitness thing and you're like, do you know what, I actually quite like this, like how this is making me feel, And then it's like, obviously we've started doing this. We've now built this kind of community where you're coming in and like, obviously we know you personally as well. So it's good for us to see the change in you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you sometimes you'll probably not see it yourself, but that's how we're like, well, we can see it. At least like we can with everybody else. But sometimes it's like, that's why we've got coaches, because they can see it with us. Do you know what I mean?
You need that second pair of eyes.
You need that at times, but obviously you see the way we're trying to go with building the kind of community thing and how much it's people are now kind of talking to each other and it's now probably giving you a sense of, obviously we know we're your friends, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, if you did want to go a run, you would put it in that group and go, look, I'm going out for a fucking 5k or something, does anybody want to join?
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you probably 9 out of 10 there's going to be somebody that's say, I'll come with you.
It's just having that
apart from Holly.
It's just having that group of people there that like are on the same kind of journey as you. So taking it back, right, at the beginning you said you constantly stopped and started when it came to your fitness journey, right? Yeah. So, and then you've kind of built it up to a place, but has there ever been any points where you felt like you were going to give up and you were going to stop? And like, how have you kind of overcome that? Because before we've came through a journey of stop, start to now you've been consistently coaching with us for almost 2 years.
Yeah. So when I went through my bulk, I found that really hard. No surprise, having to eat more food.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, like, as much as I moan about having to eat more food, I can eat the food. I just struggle with seeing the
skills.
It's the skills and like it's your mind but as well, because I know for you a lot of times you've kind of said like when you're eating more you automatically think I've gained fat, even though you haven't. And the scales have moved, but it's just as if it's like a psychological thing that as soon as you're eating more,
my brain thinks I'm getting fat. So I wouldn't say there's ever been a point where I've thought about giving up as such, but I found it hard during the bulk and putting on obviously weight.
I think a lot of people misunderstand what it takes to gain muscle, right? And to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter what as you're obviously if you're doing performance right and you're doing the running and stuff, you could probably eat that a little bit more, but you're still going to have the same effects where you're eating that much food. That it's hard to eat that much food, or it's hard to step on the scales and see a difference. And when you're doing the running and you're doing that type of training, you're also causing a lot more inflammation, which the weight's going to go up a lot more. And I think that a lot of people don't understand like what you actually need to do. Gaining muscle and to get stronger is harder. That I believe it's harder because
100%.
The mental aspects of eating all their food. Obviously, I'm coming from a bodybuilding background where I'm not doing as much output as you, but I still need to eat that certain amount of food. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is hard. It's hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially because a lot of people as well, they think going on a bulk or gaining muscle means like just eating shit. And it's not. Like, you still have to be eating your nutrient dense food, which is even harder because there's so much more volume in that than what there would be if you were filling your day with takeaways, which obviously make you feel like crap anyway. But do you know what I mean? If you were eating McDonald's and Burger Kings and Greggs all day, like, you probably would be able to fit your calories in, no bother. But it's because you're still eating like your normal nutrient dense food. Like, it can be difficult. But then that was right at the beginning of your journey as well, wasn't it? That we started trying to gain some muscle and gain some tissue before we kind of stepped into the more running performance side of it, where like you thought that was where you wanted to be, basically.
I remember when I first started and like obviously you set
I
my
said you
plan
had
out
to
and you said I was
increase
like,
your calories,
and I was like, what? I thought I was going to be going the other way, and you were like, no, you need to build muscle. You're not like you.
That was the issue, but because you came to me for a cut, for a beef, 1,400 calories, you were like, Holly, I need help. Like one week I'm increasing my calories up, then I'm getting nervous and I'm bringing them right back down again, and you were stuck in this vicious cycle that you couldn't seem to get yourself out of. So then when you came to me and I took over, it was like, we need to increase your calories, and you were like, what? Exact same way I was with Stephen when he done it to me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you mean what? I need to eat what?
But it's the same thing. It's like it still came down to a point where, I mean, we'll get people coming in, obviously, and they'll still, would you be? I need to increase my food. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but then you need to say, look, you need to give it time, and that's the thing. It's time. It's like, and then you've obviously started building a bit of trust, which is now you're like, right, well, that's what, so she must be doing something right. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is, but it's getting by that initial stage. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like they come in and go, oh, I want to lose weight, and it's like, right, and they're expecting their calories to go away down. It's like, no. And they're like, how am I eating that amount of food? It's like, listen, geek time. And as I say to everybody, the first ones that came in, like for example, if the boy came in and he's like, oh, I'm eating this amount of food, I'm doing this amount of running, I'm doing this, but I'm not losing weight. I was like, you're doing too much, and you're not eating enough food. Yep. How does that make sense? I was like, listen, we'll do it like this. I said, give it a couple of weeks. I said, you're going to feel full and bloated, but trust me, see, within 2 weeks of you doing this exercise and doing this, you're going to want more food.
Yeah. And the aim of the game for us is always for you guys to be like, seeing results on the most amount of food possible. Like we're never going to be those coaches that are like, right, just hammer your calories down and in order to get a result. You'll not be like, yes, at some point your calories are maybe going to have to come down, and especially if it's like a photo shoot prep, a comp prep, something like that. But for us, like, we want you to actually fuel yourself and eat as much food as possible and still be getting your results. I mean, look at your photo shoot, for instance. Look at how lean you came in. And you were on the highest amount of calories we've ever had anyone on in a photo shoot. Even I wasn't on that amount of calories. Like,
and you're like, I'm so hungry. I'm like, what, man? I was like, you're fucking hell. That's a no bad amount of food for a female.
Oh, aye, it was a decent amount. Photo shoot prep, lean as eating.
Most shredded back in the planet. You know what I mean? Fuck's sake.
I felt bad moaning. I was hungry because I knew.
You were
telling me like other people in the gym on prep at the time. I can't remember who it was, but I remember you said what their calories were, and I was like, what? What do you mean? You were like more than double? I was like, how are they alive?
So see, when it comes down to like food and that, what would you prefer? You like to follow, right? Because obviously we've got the old debate where it's like calories and macros, right, or a food plan. Where would you say that you kind of thrive more?
Well, I would say now a meal plan, but when I first started, I would have said tracking. But like when I was tracking, I always did make my like protein and like my macros and all that, but I found it hard because when I first started as well, I wasn't eating meat. I was pescatarian.
Unless you had a drink.
You what? What did you say?
Unless you had a drink.
I didn't eat meat unless I had a drink.
When I had a drink.
Then I'd go to KFC and have chicken.
Then I would forget. Get a sausage supper. So yeah, when I wasn't eating meat, I found it really hard because I had to think about my food more, as in like I had to sit down and like took a while to plan like what I was eating, and I didn't really do the way I do now, like have like say 4 or 5 meals. I would eat a lot of random things to make up my
calories.
That's the point. I'm glad you said that, because that's the point that I was trying to get to as well, because it's like Holly done the same thing. It was like, if it fits your macros, and it's like, oh, I've got 400 calories left, I'll just scran that fucking big galaxy or whatever, or donut or whatever. When a lot of people, in a sense, yes, that can be fine, but in a sense, it's like, well, it can also interfere with a lot of other things, especially if you're doing like performance and that, if it hangs your gut or whatever. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I'm not saying everybody who wants to go on a diet is going to have some sort of performance goal or whatever, but it's at the same time that it's like, it just makes it a lot easier. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't mean that everybody thinks following a meal plan you need to eat the same thing day in, day out. You don't. It's like, if you want to change one of your meals at night, as long as you know what you're changing it to, and it's something just, shite. Basically.
I used to eat a lot of empty calories, so like those Fibre One bars, all those rubbish cereal bars, and then I would eat them and they wouldn't fill me up. Because
you'd be eating a full box. So I suppose that's another question for you then, is like, how has your relationship with food developed over these last 2 years as well?
So obviously still have wee wobbles now and then, but it's gotten a lot better. Like, I know that I need to eat good food and the right amount of food as well. It's like back before I started with you, as I said, I was only eating like 1,400 calories, but that would be like through the week, and then it would come to the weekend and obviously we would be absolutely starving. So then I would, I wouldn't say go on a binge, but like I would
pretty
eat.
Much is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
I
like
would eat a lot more.
Strict binge kind of type cycle as such.
Because there was a few points, like, as you know, I like to scroll on TikTok and I would get all these like bacon videos, and there were a couple of times I would like make a cake, and then like I'd have all the intentions of like giving some away to mum and dad, but then I would eat like the full cake myself because I was absolutely starving. And I'm like, that's not normal. So we've come a long way since doing that.
But that's the thing, but it's like, obviously having the meal plan and doing that and doing it consistently with the foods that you're doing, you're automatically going to go for the same foods now. Do you get what I'm saying? Give or take if you're going out for dinner or whatever, but the next day you're going to end up doing the same thing that you've been doing, and then you can realise that I can actually live on this. I don't need to go and do you know
I think as well, it's like your relationship with food in the way that the way you view it as well, the way you view food now is fuel. Like, you know about your different macronutrients, you know how important your carbs are when you're running and things like that, whereas before you would have very much demonised them and like kept yourself away from them. So it was like salads, wasn't it? Like living on. I know you like salad. I know you like salad, but
I know I'm a weirdo.
The only person that likes salad.
But it was like you would, and then I remember the conversation about like the popcorn, because it was like the lowest calorie possible. Like, you wouldn't allow yourself like a packet of crisps because you were like, no, popcorn's a healthier option and it's got less calories, and it's literally air.
Air.
And stuff. It is, isn't it?
Air.
It is. But it's like how all that's changed now. Like,
yeah, I know, because I used to not eat carbs. Like before I started, say with you, when I was kind of doing it on my own, I wouldn't eat any carbs basically, or I would only allow myself carbs at dinner or something like that. I wouldn't have them in the morning or at lunch, and then I would wonder why I was starving.
I had no energy as well.
But then at the same time, I wasn't really eating that much protein either, so I don't really know what I was eating, to be honest. But
Air.
But yeah, so that explains why I was always hungry.
Yeah.
So yeah, come a long way since then.
Let me find. We're going on to next. Right, so let's move on to talking about the gym, right? Because the gym is still a big part of your journey. I know you love running, but we've also got you in the gym and we've got you strength training. So talk about kind of how you were when you maybe started with regards to like your resistance training, and what's actually helped you grow confidence in the gym, because we know for a lot of females, gym anxiety is a big thing, and a lot of females are really nervous walking into that gym. They maybe just go for the cardio equipment and stuff, but like, how has your journey developed like within the gym space?
So I used to go to the Trice gym before I moved to Limitless, and I quite liked that because it was obviously quite small and like there wasn't really intimidating vibes from it.
You try to say?
Took a long time to get
in. But so I went to there for quite a bit, and sometimes used to go to Broadwood as well. And like that, you didn't really feel as kind of nervous about going on like the different machines and like using the free weights and things like that. And then it took me a while to join Limitless. I remember I used to say to Holly all the time, "Oh, I maybe join there," and she was like, "Oh, you should." And I don't know, like I think as most people, they probably did like, feel a wee bit anxious or nervous to join because
a lot of kit in that gym as well.
Yeah, and it's like it's a lot different to.
It's probably because of what you've seen going out, and then now the content's changed for Limitless, but it was just bodybuilders and all that,
Yeah.
And then see when you came in, it was like that.
I know.
I was like, I think when Holly was like one of the only lasses training at the time.
Yeah.
Because I just followed you a bit.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
followed him a
and then
bit.
the content started to change.
Yeah.
And then it was like there was more, like it did look that little bit, but it still looked intimidating because of the kit.
Yeah.
And then it's like when you actually come down and then you're down there for a couple of days or whatever, it's like, it's actually not that bad in here.
No,
everybody's had the same thing as what you've had. It's like, oh, no, I don't know about that. Because I don't know how long it took Claire and that to come down, because she's like, no, I can't do that. I can't go down there. And then
No,
she's
it
like,
did take her a long time. And then even when she went down, she was like, nah, that gym's too small for me. And then she was like, no, actually, I've changed my mind now.
Yeah.
She loves it.
But yeah, since moving to Limitless, like I wouldn't ever go back to like the TriStar
Commercial gyms.
I mean, not that it was rubbish, but you know what I mean. Like I think once you move away from it, you realise that it's so much better going to a gym like Limitless with the kit and stuff like that. So since I did move to Limitless, I would say my confidence has grew more because I don't feel nervous about like using the machines down there now, like, and I don't feel nervous about. So there is a lot of like bigger guys and stuff down there. And I'm not scared to like move into
the road, you dick.
Be with my 8 keys.
Do you know I can run?
So I feel like I've gained a lot more confidence in that way, and I wouldn't be as nervous or anxious to try like even a different gym. Now I would feel okay about going into a different gym. Like obviously you would still be a wee bit just because it is new and you don't know how the machines are and things like that. But whereas before a few years ago, I wouldn't go to a different gym. I would just stick to the same.
You kind of do now, but because obviously you need to go to the two gyms for your style of training because you are more like performance based now. Like you kind of need to. Well, you're using Cumbernauld and Stirling, like, but that would have been a big thing.
Yeah.
Back in the whereas now you just go in and do it.
Yeah, it's just normal. Yeah, I know, and that wouldn't have been the case a couple of years ago. I'd have been like, oh, I can't do that. I'll just leave it.
So let's talk about when you first joined, right? We were more going down the kind of hypertrophy route when it came to your training and stuff, right? You were doing your cuts, you were doing your bulks. You then found like a little bit of kind of running and things like that. We've done a photo shoot too in between all this, and now we've done like half marathons, high roxies and stuff. So just talk about like the difference that you feel between your kind of styles of training and like why you love your kind of performance style training. Like why performance for you?
I think it's the feeling you get from like the performance side style of training. Like, don't get me wrong, I still really do like weight training as well, but performance, I don't know, you get like a buzz from that. Like the feeling after like doing a run, like you see that you've been able to run however many kilometres or miles, and how fast that you've been able to do it, and then just the kind of endorphins that you get from that style of training. I think it does make a big difference. And if anyone's thinking about maybe taking up running or anything like that, I would say to give it a go, because you'd be surprised like how good it makes you feel after it.
Yep. And then like your conditioning sessions, I know for me, I question my choices every time I do them. All the time, I'm like, this is really hard. Yeah. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I feel amazing. I know. You feel on top of the world like after it. So it's chasing that high. It's that high that you're getting after you do it, basically, for you when it comes to the performance style of things. Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm the same as you. Like, I feel like when you're doing the conditioning, you're like, oh, this is shit. Because it's hard. Like, I don't know when it gets easier, but I think it's always going to be hard. But after you've done it, you definitely do feel a lot better.
I think when you're doing it, it's like, it's always going to be hard, but it gets easier, if that makes sense. It's like you're not as goosed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm only saying that for you, obviously, when I done the high rocks and I was doing the functional in that style of training, like, I was fucked. And I was done, man. Like, Jesus, man, I was done. Yeah. But then I was like, wait a minute here, I've actually done that a bit quicker than I did before, and I'm not as fucked. I could only take it on, obviously, when we were doing Vanda's classes. It was like, the first time we went, I was
oh my God,
I couldn't pick me off a flare, man. Yeah. And then it got to like, I don't know, we met 4 or 5 classes in, and I was like, she went, do you know, how do you feel? I don't feel as fucked.
Went, like, you feel like you could keep going?
I'm actually not that fucked either. And it was done, and I was like, I'm getting fitter, man.
I know, like, I think it's the feeling of seeing yourself get fitter and get better at it. That's what I like as well.
So you've achieved like quite a few big goals since we've been in the team, right? We're talking 2 half marathons, we're talking a photo shoot, we're talking high rocks as well, high rock solo, which will...
Oh yeah.
I know, you got to be hanging off us, and you were right in it. It took a while to do that, I know.
Do you remember the first one?
I can't. I'm like, Jenny, don't toe dip. Jenny toe dipped.
Slow.
I was like, don't think about it, just dunk yourself in. And what did you do?
I know.
So from these kind of things that you've got here, right, so we've done the photo shoot, we've done 2 half marathons, we've done high rocks, right? What one do you think was the hardest?
That's a difficult question. Do you know what, I would maybe say the photo shoot. Like, even though you're not actually doing something, whereas obviously the running and the high rocks, you're doing something. But I would say I found that harder, as you know, I do like to eat. And I know I wasn't on that low calories, right? But I would say I did find that probably.
Do you know?
So the fact that you're basically for that, because obviously your photo shoot is a different style of training, especially because you turned around and you were like, I want to get lean, right? So of course with photo shoots, everyone's going to have a different like look that they're going for. But with the look you were going for, it meant going to a kind of prep style, a bodybuilding prep style of training for you in order to get you as lean as we could. So you're talking just resistance training, Stairmaster for cardio, and bringing your calories down low. Like that was our kind of thing there with that, compared to obviously when you're doing like half marathons and when you're doing high roxies, where you've got those different training modalities, but you're eating a lot of food. Yeah,
and I think I found the photo shoot hard as well because I do like running. Obviously I wasn't allowed to run, and that did upset me a wee bit because I was like, oh, I can't. Even though I knew I couldn't, because I know that you're
just going to end up with inflammation and starving.
Like, so I wasn't allowed to run from like January until April, which I know isn't that long, but so I probably would say the photo shoot was harder.
I suppose it was a good thing for you, but because you also got to dip your toes into a different style of training and be like, that's not really what I want to be anymore. Yeah. Because I remember when you kind of went through that, and then it was like, right, and then we obviously brought you out of that and brought you back into, because we did for a short period of time, you were like, I might step on stage for a very, very small period of time, remember that?
To be fair, like the photo shoot, you were literally probably 5-6 weeks out.
Yeah.
Like, depending on what category they would have been into, probably would have been bikini, to be fair, because you're not that muscular than you. See how I said that? But it would have been, you were no far away. That's what I was saying.
But as soon as she went for one run, that was all forgotten. Comp prep, what?
My problem is I want to do everything all at the same time.
And you can't.
I know, and I need to realise that you can, even though I know what you can. Like, why not?
How can I know just do everything? Trying you.
I want to step on stage, I want to run a marathon, and I want to do high rocks.
All in the same week.
You're my coach, you might agree with me. But it's like, as I said, doing the different types of training, how they are. It's funny that you've obviously said that the photo shoot was more kind of harder, right? Because, and what it is because nothing takes your mind off of food.
Yeah.
Unless you're working or something. Unless you're working and your mind's away.
Mm-hmm.
So as your mind
also
comes away,
home.
Which would have been a lot harder.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you had obviously done getting into the high rocks now, right? Like, and I was saying to Holly, I was like, you were already fit. Like, you were running marathons and stuff like that, right? You were fit, so the running side, it would have been fine. It would have been just more the strength side, which we knew. Do you know what I mean? We knew getting in.
Yeah.
And it was like, but for me, looking at it, you smashed it. You absolutely smashed it, right? And I did say to you, obviously, I know you had the time in your head and stuff, and I went, if you get sub 2 hours, your first solo,
that's amazing.
It's amazing. It's wild. Do you know what I mean? Considering that you've just really started doing that type of training, do you know what I mean? Getting used to obviously the sled pushing that and hearing me screaming at you for the side. The second line! Because you didn't want to jump that far. But hilarious. But it's like, now you, and when you'd obviously finished, how did you feel when you finished?
The high rock?
Aye.
Relieved? No. No, I think I got such a high from finishing it, because even though I did the sim and I finished that, still in your head you worry that you're not going to be able to finish it.
Well, because a sim's different, because when you go to a sim, you're going to someone's gym or whatever and doing it. Like, when you walk into high rocks, like, you are walking into that massive arena. Do you know what I mean? You're like, whoa, like, it's a different feeling. Do you know that way? Like, there's thousands of people there. There's thousands of people taking part. So, like, as much as the sim's probably a bit more comfortable, because you're already doing conditioning sessions in the gym. You're already kind of used to doing the movements and that. But on the day you're turning up and you're like, right, it's time to perform. And, like, sometimes the arena can be a wee bit kind of overwhelming, I suppose.
So that's my next thing, right? Let's rewind it, right? Because we've jumped into high rocks and then went to how you finished, right? But let's go to legit actual deciding that you were going to do it.
So
right?
I obviously came to watch yous in March at Glasgow, but at that point I was doing my photo shoot prep.
Almost finished. We were only a couple of weeks out.
And I remember watching yous and I was slightly jealous because I wasn't able to do it at that time, and I was like, oh, I wish I was doing this, because I just found it so exciting. And yeah, I think we were still in the venue at the time, and obviously Holly had already booked Madrid at this point, and I remember being like, oh, I'm gonna do it, and she was like, book it, and I was like, okay. So
you did try and get a doubles, but
I know. So I did try and get a doubles, but I was too impatient to wait. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to buy a solo ticket, because I was worried it was going to sell out. So I just took the women, booked the solos ticket that day, I think.
So obviously that's us, right? It's came to the day that we fly out. Right? How are you feeling knowing that this is the day that we're actually flying out to Madrid? Obviously, like,
it's not even just
coming for, like, obviously the background of, like, that you've already spoke about, drinking and stuff like that, to then actually booking. Obviously, we know you've done the marathons and stuff like that. You've done it in your home ground, but then it's a next stage, actual booking an event that you've never ever done before, that you have just started training for, to then doing it in another fucking country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so when we are getting ready to fly out, how are you feeling when we're...
So I was excited and nervous and a bit overwhelmed, probably, all at the same time. But yeah, like, I think, as you said, it's the first time I was ever going to do high rocks. Never mind doing it
in another country.
But I think that kind of made it exciting as well as scary, because you were getting to do it abroad and just, I don't know, just kind of get a wee bit more of a buzz about it as well. So. But I was a wee bit scared, because I thought, we're going to go all this way. What if I can't do it? That's a wee bit embarrassing. But no, I think that kind of added to the excitement of it all, it being in Madrid. So yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, as you said, it's another country, right? You've never been to Madrid, were you? You've never been before?
I had been, but like
I was
Just
on a
say you've
Hindu,
not
but
been,
when
right?
it
Just say you've not been.
it was a different.
Never
it was a head
never
weekend,
been
it
to
doesn't really
Madrid.
count.
Never been. You'd never
That was
seen
back
much
in the
yet.
party girl days.
Never seen much yet, didn't count. So obviously, first time, well, second time, right? Been in Madrid, and it's like you're obviously coming over there. It probably made a wee bit better that obviously we were there, right? Because we're obviously going to, regardless, even if Holly was doing it or if she wasn't doing it, we would have probably still came anyway, just for the simple fact to support, because it was in another country and it was away, and we were always going to try and make every event that we can, unless we can't split ourselves, do you know what I mean, in two when it comes to if two people are doing it the same day somewhere else. But
or if we're maybe competing somewhere or something like.
So that's the only way that would kind of change. But obviously doing it in another country and then obviously doing that, like, and then on the day, how did you feel when you woke up on the day knowing like, shit, this is me actually doing it? So we know you were nervous in the build up to it, but it's a totally different feeling when, fuck, I'm here, I'm actually going to do it.
And then plus you'd been at the arena because you'd already seen us do it the day before as well.
So when I woke up, I was quite excited but scared. Obviously, I wasn't taking off till the afternoon, so I had obviously the whole morning, and my head was just buzzing because I just wanted to do it and get it out of the way. But yeah, when I woke up, I remember thinking, "Oh no, I actually need to do this today." Because obviously we'd went and watched obviously Holly and Bex the day before, which was good in a way because I got to see like how it was laid out, and it kind of put my mind at ease, like just
getting to scope it out a wee bit
and stuff like that. But yeah, when I woke up on the Sunday, I was like, oh no. But excited as well as nervous, but I was a wee bit scared, I won't lie.
And how did you feel taking part?
Good, and I think I felt good as well because it was just me doing it on my own, so I didn't have didn't have anyone to rely on, or didn't have anyone else to kind of take the credit for like how I did like on the day, which obviously was hard at the same time, but kind of rewarding knowing that it was just me that did all that like on my own, and achieved the time and all that. So, but yeah, very very hard.
Now you've calmed down, right? And you've like obviously we asked you this question after it, what Holly did. How do you, like, are you excited about doing the next one now? I know that you two are obviously going for a doubles in Manchester at the end of January, which we'll no doubt probably get anyway.
Fuzzy vibes only that we get those tickets.
Pray for us.
Are you excited now? Like now you've kind of calmed down, you've went, you know what? Like basically what I'm asking is, do you like doing that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think I'm quite excited to do one together because obviously all the events and stuff I've did before have been on my own.
Well, the group shoot was it? It was a group.
Oh yeah, but like it's always just been me.
Yeah.
I've never really done anything
like with a partner.
So I'm really excited to do it together and get matching outfits and all that. You know,
It's gonna be cute.
And eat lots of oats.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's made me more excited for Manchester, and as well knowing I can actually do it. I can finish it. So it's
you're
just
going
about
to get
getting
different
better
this time.
now, like and getting faster. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
You've set like the groundwork.
Yeah.
So a question for you about the different kind of goals that you've hit so far, right? Is like, see from each one, what's been your kind of biggest takeaway from them, and then how has it changed your view of like what you're actually capable of?
So the photo shoot showed me that I can get lean if I want to, and I could go back to that if I wanted to do that. In the half marathons, it showed me if I put the work in, you can achieve something. Because I've said before, sometimes if I start something new, if I'm not good at it, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Whereas doing the half marathon, obviously I'd never done it before, so I wasn't good at it, but you get better over time if you put the work in.
There's a bit of beauty in like being shit at first, like it's about embracing that, and it's about embrace being shit. Like you'll know it yourself. I know when I started doing high rocks training, the amount of time I smashed myself in the face with a wall ball and I couldn't catch them.
What was that text like I sent you, man? It was when I was training for high rocks and I was up in JD and I was trying to do the battle ropes, right, because the coach had programmed me battle ropes, and I was doing the battle ropes and I knew I was doing them wrong. Like, I knew I was doing them wrong. And I'm like, I can't get this fucking thing waving. And I'm like, and there was people watching me. And I'm like, these cunts are watching me. I'm like, I can't even do this. right? And I get so annoyed at that, and I mailed you, and I was like, I'm fucking raging, I can't do this, I'm going to walk out of here, didn't I? And then I took a breather, man. It was already hard anyway, I'd never done this type of training, and I was like, I just look like a idiot, and I'm like, right, take a breather. I was like, all I do is tell my clients, like, nobody's watching, just fucking hanging. So I had to take a breather, and then I was like, I still shit at them, but I just got on with it, didn't I? And I was like, I shouldn't have sent that text, man.
Unsend.
Unsend an hour later.
Yeah. But yeah, so it showed me that if I do put the work in, you can achieve something, because for a while, like, I didn't try hard at anything, so you never obviously achieved any goals, whereas doing like the performance side of things, I think it does push you to set goals first of all and put the work in to achieve them. So yeah, it's kind of gave me a bit of a eye opener to what you can achieve.
That's a good thing. It's just coming out like your comfort zone, but innit? That's basically what it is, no matter whatever it is you're doing.
And how do you think, but like working with a coach has helped you? Like, do you think you would have achieved half of these things, like, if you weren't part of the team, if you didn't have a coach? Like,
well, no, because I wouldn't have even set any goals before. Like, I wouldn't have ever signed up to a half marathon on my own, because I would have been like, oh, I can't do that, and I wouldn't have put a plan in place to achieve it, which is obviously the upside of having a coach, because they'll help you get to where you need to be gradually, instead of like, if I was to do it myself, I would just try and run
21k.
Yeah. Like, not like right off the bat, but like, I wouldn't realise you need to build up gradually to it. You would just go all in.
Aye.
And then that's when you give up, because you're like, that's too hard.
Aye, I'm fucked.
Yeah. Whereas
Send a text.
Yeah. I'm not doing it anymore, cancel.
Send it to your other phone, man.
Whereas when you've got a coach, they'll help you like build up to something, and when you have your wee ups and downs and your wee wobbles, they'll bring you back up.
Have somebody there as a soundboard, basically.
I use their hard work.
Yeah. And encourage you to like keep going, which is sometimes what I need. I need a wee boost every now and then to say, no, you are doing well. Like, because sometimes you don't see it yourself.
You don't,
like,
and that's you're your own worst enemy, no matter what, man. Like, even sometimes, like, I hear her saying things about her, and I go, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you said it earlier on, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
See what I mean? She thinks she's fat. I'm like, what?
No, I'm just carrying a bit more body fat than what I ever have.
Yeah.
I'm the heaviest I've ever been. I was like, but you're leaner than what you've at that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, there's no about you, Holly, right?
It's not.
But
We're the same, but
but it's just one of the things that you always get yourself. You always look at the shite part, or you're not doing this, or it's like you always think that you should have achieved much more by now, or whatever. And it's like, just take a step back, man, and just look out for the bigger picture and go, look how far we started to now.
Oh yeah, I think sometimes we need to do a little bit of reflection, because I think sometimes we can get so caught up in just the day to day, and it just becomes the norm that sometimes we actually forget something to look back at where we were when we started compared to kind of where we are now. And that pretty much leads me on to quite a good question here, which would be like, what would you say to someone else that's maybe starting out their fitness journey and they're maybe where you used to be, like, compared to kind of where you are now? Like, have you got any pieces of like advice for them?
So I would say be patient, which I never was at the beginning. I would expect to get somewhere faster, and not be realistic about how long it's going to take. So I think I would say to be patient with what you've been set, like your plan or whatever, and just realise that it will get you to where you need to be, but you need to be a wee bit more realistic about timescales, which I think is probably most people's problem. They want to get to from A to B like within 2 weeks, and it's like, it's not going to take 2 weeks. It's going to take a lot longer than that.
And as little work as possible is the other thing that they want to do in it. Like, A to B, 2 weeks, no work.
Yeah.
Sound.
And probably as well, kind of look at your lifestyle, and is the things you're doing now really going to get you to where you want to be? Which obviously, when going back, like, I used to drink quite a lot and things like that, and that wasn't helping like me get to where I wanted to be. Obviously, it wasn't helping the way I was feeling, but it also was hindering your progress.
Do you know the thing is, it's quite similar, right? Because you probably don't get it much now, right? Where you're pals used to mail you and ask you to go out, right? Now, I used to get mailed all the time, go out, right? And I used to always go out thinking I'm going to miss something.
Yeah.
Turned out I never missed fuck all. I just woke up with a heavy sore head for days.
And the
No
fear.
money.
And the fear.
No money in the fear,
right? And it's like,
missed the gym for a few days.
And then it wasn't until obviously I started to take things a wee bit more serious, and I'm like, eventually those texts and these calls stopped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
and it's
I've
like that you
not-
probably recognised it a wee bit more, and it's like, well, how come you know just ask me to go out for food?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Do you know what I mean?
Or a walk.
You don't, or a coffee or something. I go for coffee.
Yeah. Do you like coffee?
I love coffee.
We didn't know that.
I'm representing Costa and everything here.
But yeah, no, like over time, like before, obviously I would go out quite a lot with friends, things like that, and there's maybe like some friends who I don't see as often or at all anymore because I'm not their drinking buddy anymore, which I'm okay with. Like I'm happier doing the things I'm doing now and being around the people that like to do the same things as well, which obviously helps because to some people the way I live my life is probably they'll find it weird.
Aye, you're
whereas to other people it's just normal.
I think that's the thing that we always forget as well, and that's what I sometimes remind Stephen of as well, is like what we actually do isn't normal. It's not the norm for most of the UK. Like you're talking about 15% or something even have a gym membership. Like do you know what I mean? There's not a lot of people that do the things we do, so it probably doesn't seem normal, even though it's the norm for us.
Yeah.
It's not, but obviously we try and find ourselves in those like environments where it is the norm because it brings you up. And like when you see people doing like better than you or achieving things that maybe you're not at, you're like, wow, like I can maybe get there.
Yeah. I know. 'Cause I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was you, Holly, or if it was someone else from the team, but we were talking about like drinking and things like that, and I was saying how like quite a lot of the time I wouldn't remember like the night.
That's me.
And they were saying like you're paying money for somebody else's memories, and I was like, that's so true, because most of the time I would go out and then the next day I wouldn't remember most of the night because obviously I've drank so much I'd black out. And they were like, oh, you're paying for someone else's memories, and I was like, that's
true, unless you've got some videos on your phone.
Which you never look anyway, because that just makes you 10 times worse.
Or should we get deleted? Oh. So yeah, that made me think as well.
Right, so another question for you is, we're just going to look back over the last kind of 2 years. Like, what's been the most rewarding part of the journey for you?
So probably obviously achieving the half marathons and high rocks, but as well like changing my lifestyle and how I like view things like alcohol, for instance. Like I don't even really, obviously I do still like a wee night out now and then, but it's more of a planned occasion. Like I wouldn't just drink on a Saturday just because. Like it's more if it's an event or if it's something. And that's like a big change for me. I'm
not going to be funny, but it's also it's a big thing for you, right? And I'm just meaning because you do stay obviously with Bobo, right? And
my dog, by the way.
Yeah, dog. By the way, she's single. If anybody's looking, I'll talk about it after this, right? She's it's like harder for you because like obviously me and Holly have kind of got each other and the dogs, right? But you're obviously sitting just obviously in the house and stuff watching TV and that, and it would probably be a lot easier for you just to, do you know what I mean? Like go out and do something or get a drink or whatever like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's probably quite hard. And don't get me wrong, you've kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like I can't remember what I want for. No, trained yourself into being like that. Do you know what I mean? But you're obviously getting more of accustomed to it, and it's like actually enjoy doing this, whether it's just with my dog watching shit on TV and going to bed.
Being on your own, I suppose, as well, because that was something that before you joined the team, like you had never really spent time alone.
No, because since I was like 17, I've been in like 3 long-term relationships, and there's only been like a month or 2 in between each of them, so I'd never really been on my own. And I think that was one of the big things when I did split up with my ex. Like I didn't really do things on my own. Like I remember when I first became on my own, I had to plan something every night because I couldn't just sit in the house myself. So whether it be like just going a walk or like seeing a friend or like doing something, I had to have something every night because I just didn't like being in the house on my own. Like,
because that must be quite freeing now, but because you've got this total independence where you're not relying on anyone else for your for your happiness. Like your happiness is totally reliant on you. You're in complete control of your own life.
I know, but I think now when somebody wants to do something, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to fit it in. I'm like, I need to go run, I need to go to the gym 3-4 times. I'm like, sorry, I can't make it.
It's only a 5-minute coffee.
Like that, sorry. Doesn't fit in my schedule. But yeah, so that's a big thing because I didn't ever do anything on my own. Like I'd always kind of mould my time around like my boyfriend at the time. I would do what they wanted to do. So like, if it didn't fit in, I'd be like, I'll just miss that because I'm going to do what they're doing. Whereas now I'm like, doesn't fit in with what I'm doing. So sorry.
Yeah.
So I've got a wee question for you, right? That we're going to ask everybody that comes on to this special podcast. If you could say something to somebody who's sitting on the fence about joining Team Nova, right? What would you say to them?
I would say go for it. It'll change your life in a big way. Whatever goal you have, whether you want to lose fat, gain muscle or whatever, you just need to go for it. Basically, it'll change your life and you won't look back. I know I certainly won't look back. I think it's changed me in so many different ways, which I'm sure you probably see and other people probably see as well. So I would just say take the plunge and go for it. You won't regret it at all.
And another thing, Jenni won't mind me saying this, right? But Jenni's looking for a fitness guy, tall, dark and handsome, likes to go for walks with the dogs.
6'2".
6'2" to be precise, right?
Preferably have abs. Yeah. Not a deal breaker, but...
Also, obviously into fitness, likes to do events and stuff. So if you think you're that guy, you need to join Team Nova.
Yeah.
And then we will
vet you and see if you're...
They need to vet you because you'll need to double date with them. So if they don't like you, then you're not getting the A-OK.
Need their approval first. Monda's approval first.
There'll be an application form attached to this video.
Oh, brilliant. Well, Jenni, it's been a pleasure to chat about your journey so far, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there that will relate to kind of where you were before you've started to where you are now, but as well, it's like credit where credit's due. Like some of the things that you've done and you've achieved in the past 2 years are absolutely incredible, and we've already got a plan in action for moving into next year, how we can just move even further on as an athlete as well. So it's been an absolute pleasure to chat through with you.
Been amazing.
Thank you.